Welcome back to episode 2 of Off the Record out here at Margaritaville. This is much more enjoyable.
Much nicer.
Tarrion Adams, our guest this week, replacing Kelly Hines.
We got a little speed today.
I was going to say, I told him earlier, he still looks like he could beat us in a 40-yard dash.
He is. Tarrion was the guy. He was the guy that came in. He was from Moore, Oklahoma.
Yep,
and I'll never forget. You were coming in on your recruiting visit as I was leaving,
Right.
and so you were able to play for. DeAndre, is that right? Or who was our running back coach? Yeah,
Yep, Coach Saunders.
Coach Saunders. And but at the same time, you came in, and then by the time it was said and done, you played obviously for Coach Crackthorpe and then Coach Graham, and you got a little bit of Gus Malzahn in it. And so when it was all said and done, you were the all-time leading rusher in University of Tulsa football history. How many yards was that? Do you remember?
Oh, man, I have no idea. No idea.
Now, if you were Paul Smith, you would know down to the yard.
You don't have it tattooed on your inner thigh or something, man? Come on.
It was a lineman. It was all,
Look at that. Look at that, dude.
Hey, no.
Terry could be here every week.
His head's already too big. You don't need to be doing that.
Every week.
Come on.
The lineman knew every record, and they pushed for every record. They reminded me. So
we got into a discussion. My cousin Kyle Grooms.
Yep.
And we get into discussions all the
KG.
time.
That's your cousin?
Yeah, see, he's everybody forgets this
He's
stuff.
TU royalty, man.
And so
Chadwick's TU royalty all the way around.
Kyle, we get into these discussions, all-time leading or all-time passers, or who would you take, running backs, and he plugs Tarrion all the time.
As he
like,
should.
You guys don't understand how durable, how good. I mean, geez, what this guy was able to do. So it's fun to have you on here. I know you're in town. You're doing all kinds of stuff, and so talk about your business. You do the nutrition store you've got. You also do some coaching. You do some fitness stuff. No wonder he's in good shape.
Right? Yeah.
Definitely. Have H&H Nutrition off of 91st and Sheridan, 9242 South Sheridan. Come on down for a nice shake, energizing tea. Also have the sports complex at Next Level Athletics off of 51st and Mingo. Any athletes, anybody looking to get in shape, adults, whomever, come on down, try a class. First classes are free, so come on down and try it. And then, of course, we have Tulsa Fuel kicking off. We have tryouts October 17th.
Yep.
Go to our Tulsa Fuel Facebook page for any additional information. But definitely the running back coach and tight ends coach for the Tulsa Fuel.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very cool.
I don't
Super
think this
excited.
qualifies for your nutrition plan, but Margarita 2 on the
ready to
season.
say,
Here we
does.
go.
Hey, you live.
But listen, the main thing is everything in moderation.
Hey,
That-
cheers to that. Cheers to that.
my wife-
Look, he's with me here. Look
my
at this.
wife-
There we go. Yeah.
My wife is a dietitian, and that's what she always used
I
to
got
say to
number 2
her,
coming over here already.
patients and
Yeah,
people
we're just
she would
rolling.
meet. She would tell them, hey, you can have a slice of pizza, but keep it at a slice, y'all.
Yeah,
I
maybe
mean,
2. Let's be realistic.
And I'm just like, honey,
Let's say
just
2.
give me the large,
Right.
and then we don't need to go.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Unless it's a Chicago style. You
There
gotta
you
have
go.
a half a
Fair,
slice.
fair. All right, so I think we've avoided
Yes.
enough. Let's.
Oh, you want to talk about it?
Well, the majority of the show is going to be looking forward to Oklahoma State, who did not look good themselves against Missouri State,
Sure.
only winning by a touchdown. But the flip side of that, we're all in blue today. It's almost like a mourning shade of blue. We're in mourning because of that performance last week.
You know this.
So,
You know this very. I was on an 01 and 02 Tulsa team. I got my PhD in losing.
You
okay,
did.
so I know how to lose. But we were still able to beat Indiana State and still able to beat Southwest Texas State, right? But from that standpoint, the one thing I was saying about this is we kind of have a referendum on this game. You're missing guys. You had the suspension
definitely
from
missing guys.
the Mississippi State stuff. But Tarrion will tell you that ain't no excuse.
No.
And the bad part is you're playing against Dan Hawkins. He's a good coach, and it's a California
I honestly
FCS
forgot
school.
he was the coach.
Well, they were well coached.
Yeah, and then I was like,
And,
wow.
And
okay.
a California FCS school will scare you a little bit because they've got some D1 guys that play.
California talent, yeah.
No doubt. But at the same time, here's the issue I've got. Just shooting yourself in the foot way too much. Listen, when you have 10, 11, 12 penalties
It's a lot.
against – if you have it against Memphis and Navy and Houston last year, but you win, nobody cares.
Right.
When you do that against this team, everybody's going to talk about
Yeah.
it. Especially some of the inopportune times.
Right.
They were having penalties and all that stuff. And Terry,
So-
man, you've been a part of some bad losses
Yeah.
too.
I have.
Every now and then.
I have.
Now you won a lot of games too. Probably,
Right. So here's what I want to know from you. You did a good job of just what went wrong. Now take us inside the locker room. The morale, the effect that a season, not just a loss against a team like UC Davis,
Right.
but a season opening loss.
Uh-huh.
How tough is that to rally and bounce back? Because now you have two big boys back-to-back in upcoming weeks. So take me into the mindset of what you think the guys are feeling or thinking right now.
Not even a short week. Like,
No,
they
not
had
even
to
a
think
short
about
week.
it for another day or two.
This is true. You know, the main thing is that it's the first game.
Yep.
So we're all going to hang our hats on working out the kinks. We're all going to know that we're still trying to find our groove, if you will. And we're going to know that we definitely did not play to the best of our ability. That's the end of it. We know that there's so much more potential on this football team. We know that we're much better than what we displayed last week, and we just got to come out and prove it. We got to come out and show it.
Yeah, one of the things to take away,
O-line, positive or negative?
Well, it's a little bit of positive.
Okay.
First of all, no matter how good anybody did, everybody did bad. Like it basically.
Win as a team, lose as a
Even when
team.
the O-line comes in and says, "Hey, we ran for 8 yards a pop," you know, they couldn't tackle us. We
Right.
were just gashing them.
RB8 was the best player in the game.
Well,
by the way.
it doesn't matter. You still lost. But at the same time, the talent level at the University of Tulsa right now, I mean, they got some dudes. They got guys everywhere. And granted, they didn't play anywhere near to their
I was going to
ability.
say, they didn't play. I mean, no offense. I'm not trying to be too mean, but they didn't play like dudes.
But at the same
you know?
time, listen, there's been times we've rolled into Stillwater, and I don't feel very good about it at all.
Yeah.
And there's times you roll into Stillwater, and you're like, okay, we got some cats that can go toe-to-toe just fine. We had a lot of those guys last year. Most all of them are back this year. And then at the same time, you add a few pieces here and there. We got two dudes on the offensive line, and Tyler Smith, who's going to be in the game now, and then Bryce Bray, the kid that transferred from OSU. Those are two NFL-looking guys, if you will. And so from that standpoint, Tarrion, you know, just you've seen a lot of these different Tulsa teams. You were a part of some Tulsa. You're part of some guys that played and made money playing this game. From that standpoint, you know, Monty and their recruiting, what they've done, the kind of length that they recruit, the kind of I don't want to say creatures, but the kind of guys that they like. The athletic,
creature sounds a little derogatory or something.
It
I don't
does,
like that one.
but that's what we say. You know, you got some creatures back there. You got some dudes in the defensive backfield that can maybe transition into the next level, but he's pumping out NFL guys.
Right.
And so the talent is there, right?
Correct.
I mean, they got guys that can go, and they got guys you can take to Stillwater and feel pretty good about your chances.
Definitely. So the issue, you know, I feel like it's kind of always been a thing. We play to the level of our competition. When we play good teams, we play up. You would never knew that we were the smallest Division I school in the nation. You just wouldn't have an idea. We play way better than that. And unfortunately, the same is true when we play teams of a lesser talent.
Right. We
tend to play down. But that being said, they're going to be worked up for OSU this week. I expect a whole different team.
Before we get into OSU, I want to push on that for a second.
You didn't like my creatures term?
I
That's
did
a
like that.
talented, I mean,
I like
different looking dudes, right?
But what you said about playing to level of competition, where does that come from, in your opinion? Like, why, as a coach, like you've seen it now, you played, now coaching.
Right.
I've always wondered this. Where does that originate from? Where does that come from?
Now, again, I don't want to throw shade, so to speak.
Of course.
You can be honest. It's all
I
right.
completely have to put that on coaches. I think our coaches tried to do a good job of keeping us at a high level of intensity. Good was never good enough. We could never feel complacent. There was no sense of complacency. I don't care if we had 600 yards the game before. Now it's time to go get 650. The goal is always moving. We're always moving the goalposts. And unfortunately, sometimes it's just like we've arrived. Sometimes I see a sense of complacency, and we're just kind of going through the motions instead of going out there with the intensity that we should take the field with no matter who's on the other side.
Could you say that because of the performance they had against Oklahoma State last year in a game that they should have won, that maybe not the coaching staff, but just the program in general, thought they could roll out the Tulsa helmet against UC Davis and not show too much to lead going back into Stillwater this week to try to get another W?
Of course.
Okay.
Momentum is riding high. We
Yeah.
played great last year, and we had a lot of success in a lot of different areas. But I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing good. We're getting a lot of pats on the backs, and sometimes Coach Cragthorpe would say you get your chin up too much, and somebody's going to knock
When you
you
get
out.
popped. That's when you get
I think
popped.
that's what happened.
Yeah.
Our chin got up a little too high. We got to bring it back down.
All right, so Austin, I'll start with you. Last couple questions
Hold
about
on,
OSU.
hold on.
Oh, you
did,
want
you
to go
notice,
somewhere?
did you notice how he just said, hey, you went for 600 yards, but next week you got to go 650?
That's Gus Malzahn
He is
talking.
jaded by the Gus era.
That's Gus Malzahn talking.
Dude,
Yeah.
he used to be a 3-ring circus. It was like, how many plays does it take to score this drive?
Gus looked good, too, by the way. We can talk about
And
that
they
later
came back
in the year.
against Boise.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That was a good game. Let's talk about a couple questions about OSU, then we'll do a pick 'em, and we'll get out of here. Where do you want to start? So let's do this.
Okay.
We know what happened last year. a little bit of a different team, you know, some different key players and key positions, but a lot of players are back as well. So how do you see this one playing out as far as give me a key?
Okay.
Give me something to watch for. Get out of the trenches. I know you.
No,
like to
I
say
know,
that.
but I got to stay there,
But
bro. Because here,
is that where you're going? Okay.
Yeah, I watched this OSU game against Missouri State, and Missouri State's got a couple guys, but they couldn't block anybody.
No.
And so when you can't even go run the ball against these cats, a buddy of mine who played at Oklahoma State played O-line. He was just like, dude, if we can't block these guys, like you guys got
Jackson's
some dudes.
going to have a game.
You got some dudes, and so I think if Tulsa, a lot like last year, if they can hold Oklahoma State, get them into those second eights, get them into those second nines, get them into those third and sevens, put more pressure on Spencer Sanders, because I'm not sold on Spencer Sanders. I wasn't really last year. I want to put some pressure on this guy and see.
Well, he didn't have the most passing yards for OSU.
No,
Saturday
and so
it was Ellinghaus, or however you say his name.
Yeah, and so from that standpoint, it's. You know, the difference was last year when Sanders came out and this cat came in, he threw a couple jump balls to Tylan Wallace. Well, that's easy.
Right.
I mean, let that guy go get it. Well, he doesn't have that guy this year. And he's got some other ones, but he doesn't quite have Dylan Stoner out there and Tylan Wallace. So I think the matchup for Tulsa is going to be, if you just ask me on the surface, you know, Tulsa is as good, if not maybe a little better overall talent-wise last year. And Oklahoma State might have taken a step back with losing some guys. But you got to deal with Dalton Rodriguez. Dude, this guy is he's a player, man.
Yeah.
I like him. So up front, offensively for Tulsa, they got to go get people blocked. They got to build on what they did against UC Davis. I mean, because if you can stay in those second and four, second and threes, let Monty get into his speed series, then you can go, and you got to get Davis Brent comfortable. He's got to play better.
Yeah.
Rookie mistakes.
You're touching all of the things here.
These are just all the key
all
points.
the things.
But you know this, Tarrion. These are first college start. You know, you came in against Tulane last year and lit it up. But then all of a sudden, you're trying to throw under routes, and you're forgetting that they got linebackers there. These are good athletes. They can go catch the ball, and that's what happened to Davis. But he's got to play better right, too.
Definitely. I think it starts where you said. You got to win in the trenches. You got to win the line of scrimmage.
See?
If we win the line
We
of
didn't
scrimmage,
need this.
it
Your
makes
head's just
things
growing. I feel it.
easier, for sure. Like, everything kind of flows a little bit better. Now, don't get me wrong. Skill position still has to make the right reads. We still got to catch a ball. We still got to execute, of course. But again, we have the ability to execute if we win the line of scrimmage. Let
me ask you about the running backs real quick. Is that okay? Can I ask?
You do your thing, man.
Because Deneric Prince, he's got some burners. He can run. And you know, I mean, he's a good-looking dude. Obviously, coming from A&M, he's got a high ceiling. Shamari impressed me, right? Because he's quick twitch, and he's going to get where he needs to get quickly.
He's quick twitch, but he's also, when he lowers the shoulder.
Oh yeah, he's tough.
He'll run you over.
He's a tough as nails kid. So you're a little different style of back, because if Deneric gets a crease, he's got a chance to go score.
Of course.
And so as far as the running backs go, the transfer kid from Southern Miss, he's like 6'4".
Yeah.
He's like Alex Singleton, but he's taller.
Right.
Like, he is massive. And so they got a good core of running backs that they can go hand the ball off to.
I think we got to establish a run. I mean, you just said it. If we control the line of scrimmage, it makes no sense to not establish a run. We establish the run, and everything else opens up. We have play actions, we have down the field throws, but we have to establish the run, whether that's inside zone, outside zone, however it looks. Establish the run first, and everything else plays itself out.
Here's what scares me before we get to pick 'em. The Davis I saw under center or in shotgun Thursday was not the Davis I saw that came into play against Tulane. And so I don't know if it's the pressure of being groomed all offseason long as the starter versus coming in with nothing to lose. You just get to be the Texas gunslinger. You're down, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, whatever it was.
Just go see what you can do.
Yeah, lead a comeback, no pressure, no expectation, nothing, versus the pressure of being a starting quarterback. And if that's the case, hopefully that changes with experience, but it also scares me for the next 2 games, because if you felt pressure against UC Davis, you're going to feel pressure in Stillwater, and you're definitely going to feel pressure in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
So that really scares me as we head into this game. The spread is or you want to go off that?
Yeah,
Okay.
But when you think about it, this goes back into the kind of Dan Hawkins. That's a well-coached team.
It is.
And they're a man-free
But the point
team.
is the next 2 are going to be as well.
No doubt,
Yeah.
no question. And so you just got to find that comfortable rhythm. But I mean, just back to what Tarrion said, if you could run the ball.
Takes pressure off.
I mean, it opens some things up. But Davis he's got to make those steps. You know, if he's going to mature into a good Dane Evans, Paul Smith, 3-year quarterback, he's got to make steps. And this is a big, big game. I know it's early in his career, right? But it is a big game for him to make a step forward.
So these are the games that we love. You know what I mean? These are the games that set up the rest of the season for us. But in these games here, we have to build trust. If we can block these guys, we can block anybody. If we can show up and block these guys, again, the rest of the season is easy. But you have to show up and block. You have to show up and, again, win the line of scrimmage. But that takes everything off of the quarterback. Establish the run game, again, takes everything off of the quarterback. And that's what we have to do now with this quarterback.
I'm with you. All right, so we'll start down there with you. We're at a casino, so we can talk about spreads and gambling.
You're gonna put the line out there?
I am. So the line right now is OSU minus 13.
13.
So Oklahoma State's a 13-point favorite, a little less than 2 touchdowns. The over-under combined scores at 51.5.
Okay.
If you were a gambling man, Tarrion, which way would you lean in either one of those? You can have your pick.
If I'm a gambling man,
and we don't condone that, by the way.
So
But this is just for
But we're at a casino.
entertainment.
We're at a casino.
It's for entertainment purposes.
Right, of course. Yeah.
if I'm gambling with my heart,
Yes.
I'm going blue all the way.
So is that OSU plus
I'm
the
going-
13?
I'm
Okay.
going-
Or sorry, TU
No,
plus the
TU
13.
plus
Yeah,
the
yeah, sorry.
13. But as of right now, going off of what I've seen, unless we can win a line of scrimmage, I have to take OSU and the
Yeah.
minus 13.
So
Where are you at, Chadwick?
The 13. This gets in a previous life, right? I used to study this kind of stuff.
Yep. I still do.
The 13 scares me, but it kind of doesn't because you got to get in the mind of Vegas. What are they doing? It's real easy for the public to say, "Oh, 2 touchdowns. This is
Right,
easy.
right.
Let's take OSU." Now, is that a line skew? Are they wanting the public to take OSU so they can clean house and Tulsa does well? I think if Tulsa wins the game, and honestly, there was a point in time against UC Davis or up. You know, it was 21-17. We're going into score again. We're kind of starting to pull away. And if they could have put their foot on the throat, if you will, that I think this line would be around 8 or 9. It wouldn't be 13.
I mean, you get 3 for being at home.
Right.
So, yeah.
So from that standpoint, I just think, you know, I got to go with TU. I mean, come on. The 51 points, I think that they see what we all kind of see. Like, this isn't going to be a 38-31 game.
To me, that number's high.
You think so?
To me, that, well, I mean,
so
what
was the final score last year? 16-6 or 16-10?
Around there, yeah.
So you think it's a lot like that
Well, I
this
mean,
year?
what did we see from either team in week 1?
That make you feel pretty good?
23 points from OSU at home against Missouri State, 16 points from Tulsa at home against UC Davis. Why would we think it would even crack 50?
Right.
Now, prove it to me first.
Now we say that,
right?
and it's going to be like 42-38.
Yeah,
and we're going to be slinging it
It
around.
might be, but until I see it, I don't trust either team enough to either take or give points. Because it wouldn't surprise me if Tulsa comes up in Stillwater and comes out and scores 3 points, and it wouldn't surprise me if they come out and score 30. And the same for OSU. Like
You just don't know.
I have no clue. So until they prove to me that they can put the ball in the end zone through the gold zone, as Joe likes to say, then I'm going to take the under. If I was a gambling man, I don't trust either team enough to put any of my money on it.
Yes.
I would just take the under.
OSU do they have fans? Are there fans
Oh,
in
yeah.
full attendance?
Yeah.
So that's what I was asking earlier. I didn't know what they did from an attendance
Did
standpoint
they change
as far as
because the crowd was pretty good last week.
And was it
and
full?
so-
Like whoever
yeah,
could come
yes.
could go? Okay.
And so from that standpoint, I think you know you had a couple of empty seats kind of up in the corners in the kind of the bowl area that they've got on the west side.
Right. What's up?
Because it's east-west. You know, that's
Right,
one of
right.
the only
It
east-west
is one of the
stadiums
only, yeah.
in the country.
Yeah.
Just very unique and ironic.
Their stadium design is perfect.
It-
Their fans.
oh, sure.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We were talking about those dang
Hostile
paddles, man.
environment.
I'm over those things. Being a cameraman down there, like right behind your head, just
Right.
banging
Just-
against the.
just
I was
hammering.
like, come on, guys.
Yeah, you got to put your headphones in at that
It's
point.
2nd and 20, and you're up by 30. Just stop.
Okay,
with the paddles.
So, Tarrion, you played with a lot of guys and against a lot of guys. You know, when you kind of look back and see this TU program, what it's done, kind of where it's gone. It's from Cragthorpe to Todd Graham to Bill Blankenship now with Philip Montgomery. Is it in a pretty good place? I mean, we see the product on the field,
Right.
but just overall, does it get you a little bit inspired about it? I mean, what's your overall feeling?
I think it's definitely in a good place. I think we're continuing to move the needle forward. That's the goal here. They played great last season overall, and we're not starting off the way we want to start. So I don't want anybody to get discouraged or jump ship by any means. We're going to pull it together. Coach Montgomery's going to right the ship, so to speak, and we're going to develop confidence. And we're going to continue to get better as the season goes on. But we're definitely in a good place. Definitely in a good place.
I can't remember if I played with a guy from Moore, but it has to be, hands down, the number one ever TU football player from Moore High School, Moore Lions, has to be Tarrion Adams. That's easy, right?
I'm not disagreeing
Or
with
were
that.
there any other guys that were from Moore? I mean, we've had some guys from Westmore and now South Moore
They go to TU.
that either had gone to TU or one time or another.
Other guys from more, Ted Curtis was with me.
Okay, that's right, Curtis.
Ted Curtis. Yes, sir.
There you go.
DeAndre wouldn't found those
Right.
dudes.
So one more time before we go, plug where you are. All your three.
Happy Healthy Nutrition.
There it is.
9242 South
He
Sheridan.
says margaritas.
And in moderation.
There it
of
is.
course. And then again, we have Next Level Athletics on 51st and Mingo. And Tulsa Fuel, the semi-pro football team. Come out and check us out. Tryouts October 17th.
October 17th.
October
Can we get
17th.
Prentice Elliott out there again? Yeah.
I want to get Austin out there.
No. Heavens
Come
no.
on,
I
come
got
on.
my joints and my ligaments the way they are.
Well, if you reconsider, I'll take you now.
Boom. You heard it here,
There-
folks.
I brought up Prentice just because, I mean, we're
You
playing
did.
against OSU
You did.
this week.
Yeah.
And you know, he at one time was on this team at OSU.
Yep.
And this cat, dude, he was playing on the semi-pro team. We had a Thunder team here that
Yeah,
was
I remember that. I remember that.
And at like 30 years old, he's out there,
He looked
hands
good.
down, the best athlete on the – I mean, the guy was incredible.
He looked good. All right,
So-
we're going to wrap it up.
Okay, bud.
That does it for episode 2. We'll see you episode 3 out here at Land Shark Pool Bar in the background, Margaritaville.
This blue everywhere.
There is blue everywhere. This is TU headquarters, unofficial TU headquarters. Hopefully next week it'll be
Hey,
a more chipper mood.
Yeah.
We'll be celebrating an
Let's go.
upset win over a Power 5
because
team.
we're going to
How
get
about
ready
that?
to get on a plane and get
Go
after
to
it.
Columbus, Ohio, and try to get another one. All right. We'll see you guys next week.